Alright guys, in this video I'm going to show you 5 famous riffs that are actually great exercises that I guarantee is going to improve your playing. Coming up. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm RJ Ronquillo, rhymes with what the dealio. And if you're new here, thanks for joining me. So I came up with this idea to do this video after trying to play the intro to a fairly famous song, which I'll show you in just a second. And I was actually having some difficulty with it. It was something that I think I really had to sit down with and practice a bit, maybe slow it down. And I soon came to the realization that this iconic riff is actually a great exercise that I can practice or warm up with. And then I wondered, what are some other classic riffs that make great exercises? Before we get started, if you're into these kinds of videos, don't forget to click subscribe and hit that bell icon to stay in the loop. For any kind of exercises, I highly recommend using a metronome to practice them at different speeds and help you improve your internal rhythm. And the one that I've been using is an app from Soundbrenner. It's free and available for iPhone and Android. Tons of cool features like creating different rhythms and saving tempos as a set list, which is great for live gigs. But they also offer an optional wearable accessory called the Pulse, which essentially syncs to the app and vibrates on your body. You can wear it on your wrist, on your upper arm, your leg. Sometimes I'll wear it on my neck if I'm feeling kinky. But what's great about this is this kind of haptic feedback really helps with your internal rhythmic clock. Because now, not only do you have the sound of the metronome from the app, but you also have this beating on your skin and creating vibrations that travel into your body and up your spine and into your brain and all that stuff. So my personal preference, I like to wear this on my upper arm. That's where I feel it the most. So I got the ultra cool, slick looking Pulse wearable on my arm. So when I hit the play button, I can hear the metronome, but I can also feel it. I mean, you obviously can't feel it out there, but you can see it light up. The cool thing is I can switch the tempo faster if I want. And to stop it, just 2 taps on the wearable. And if I want to set a tap tempo, so the gear that I'm using for today is my trusty Charvel Jakey Lee model, and I'm running it through a JHS Andy Timmons Plus pedal right into my Sewer PT100 clean channel, and it sounds like this. So that first riff that I was playing around with that was giving me a little bit of trouble was this. You might be familiar with it. It's the intro to a fairly famous 80s song. You guessed it, it's the intro to Rebel Yell, played by the very famous Stevie Stevens. It's an awesome riff that can help you with your finger independence in your right hand. I saw a video of Steve Stevens talking about how he came up with this riff, and he said he was inspired by like solo blues playing, kind of like So this riff kind of has 2 parts. It's got a bass line that you're playing with your thumb, and then it's got like almost like a keyboard part that you're playing with your top fingers. So the thumb part basically goes like this. And then the top part, which I'm playing with my middle and ring finger, is simply a bar over the 10th fret on the high strings. And when you put them together, you get something like this, and I'll play it slow. So how I practiced this was I separated it first and played it with a metronome. So let me set the metronome to a comfortable speed to start out with. I'm going to knock this down to, let's say 90. It's pulsing on my bicep. We're going to start with the bass line. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then once I had that down, I played the other part, which goes like this. And then I put it together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Some of the pitfalls that you might encounter when you first start playing this riff is playing it like this. That is playing the eighth notes with all of your fingers. I guess another issue would be not ringing the bass notes and playing it like this. You want to get a little sustain on the low notes, which actually kind of makes it a little more difficult. See, I already fucked up. So the original, I guess, is at 166, which is pretty fast. Let's see if I can nail it. That's a hard tempo, man. I don't know how you do it, Stevie. So like I said, this exercise is awesome for your right hand finger independence. If you've ever been interested in getting into like Chet Atkins or Merle Travis style picking, like this is a great starting point. All right, let's move on to exercise number 2. Yep, you guessed it. It's the intro to Welcome to the Jungle by Guns N' Roses. It's a great alternate picking exercise. It's a great string skipping exercise. What I like about this exercise is it starts with alternate picking on adjacent strings, the second and the third strings, slowly branches out and widens the gap until you're alternating between like the fifth and the second string, which is quite a stretch. And it's very hard to do cleanly up to tempo. Let's go really slow and do this at 70 BPM, just so we can get it really nice and clean. That's even fast. You know what? Let's knock it down to 50. Now at this slow of a tempo, there's a lot of space between beats, so what I like to do is I like to subdivide it a little bit more with eighth notes. That wasn't too. Let's bump it up a little bit. And for me, I like to palm mute it a little bit. All right, let's bring it up to 100. Maybe I can do 100. Woo! This thing's vibrating now. But another way you could practice this for some of you intermediate and advanced players is to use hybrid picking. That is alternating between your pick and your middle finger. So your middle finger is hitting that open B string. It would sound and look like this. All right, so the next riff that we're going to do is more of an odd meter practice riff. Steady, and then they went. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that, of course, is the riff to Led Zeppelin's The Ocean. If you're looking down at the tab, you'll notice that it's one bar of 4/4 and one bar of 7/8. So if you were to count this out, it would kind of be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. All right, so Soundburner has a really cool feature. You can save songs to the library, and I have set this Ocean song to a specific rhythm. I have it mapped out in 15/8 time. That is 15 beats. I did that because the first bar of 4/4 is equal to 8 eighth notes, or 8 beats, and then the second bar of 7/8 is another 7 beats, so 7 plus 8 is 15. And then I accented the first beat of each bar. So the bar of 4/4, I have it accent on beat 1, and the bar of 7/8, I have it accent on beat 1, and it sounds like this. Da 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 ba ba da ba 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 da dum. Ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum, bum, ba-dum, ba-dum. So some tips with this riff. It feels like 4/4 until you get to the very end of the 7/8 bar, then it kind of hiccups back into the first bar, so just be aware of that. I think 176 is the standard tempo. All right, the fourth riff that we're going to practice comes from Metallica's One. You know, the part that goes... So the cool thing about this riff is this is a great alternate picking exercise. Not just for metalheads. This is a great exercise no matter what style of music you like to play. And it involves playing really fast triplets on the bottom E string. And as usual, you should strive to play it cleanly and accurately. For a lot of people that don't play metal, this is kind of hard to do at first. But once you get used to it, you can apply this technique in any style you want to play. Some tips before we get started. I like to use a heavy pointed pick. I'm using this Dunlop Jazz 3 XL series. I don't know if you can see this, but I like to angle my pick downwards kind of to get the edge of the pick. There's a lot of lessons on this downward pick slanting technique, which is great to develop your speed and your accuracy. I believe the original BPM of this song in that section is 1-1-1, which is pretty cool. 1-1-1. All right, let's slow that down a little bit to get more accuracy. So I'm gonna take it down to, so I knocked it down to 75, and I'm gonna subdivide it into eighth notes to give me a little help at this low tempo. For the last exercise, I'd like to talk down to earth in a language that everyone here can understand. So we're talking about The Cult of Personality by Living Colour. Now, it is a great riff all around, but there's one part in particular that I want to concentrate on, and it's the part that goes like this. Now this riff kind of feels odd metered, but really it's just a 3-bar repeated riff in standard 4/4 time. I think it just feels odd because the riff is grouped into 6 beats instead of 4 or 8, but since it's still an even number, it fits into a regular 4/4 time section. I always had a hard time with this riff. I always had a hard time figuring out what the left-hand fingering was. I wasn't sure if there was open strings involved, like, or if your thumb, I think I used my thumb a lot. But recently I saw a video that my colleague and fellow guitar YouTuber Uncle Ben Eller posted, and he suggested using an interesting fingering. So the riff starts with 2 notes off of the 3rd fret, one on the 6th string and one on the D string, 4th string. But he suggested using 2 fingers across the 3rd fret. So the middle finger is playing the 6th string and the first finger is playing the 4th string. And luckily the 3rd fret is wide enough most people could fit their 2 fingers on it. And that way you can kind of free up your other fingers to take care of the rest of the riff. So it makes it a little bit easier, and it's definitely something that you can practice. That type of fretting action doesn't really happen that often. So let's work this up to tempo. I think the original is at 186 BPM. Let's start it at 100. And I'll leave it at the 8th note subdivision. All right, for shits and giggles, 186. You see this? Oh my God. Woo! See? All right, so since I'm not playing it accurately at that tempo, I definitely have to knock it down. So don't be afraid to keep the tempo slow in order for you to keep it accurate. All right, guys, there you have it. If you enjoyed this video, click that thumbs up. Let me know something down in the comments. Share it with your friends, family, dental hygienist. And as always, if you'd like to see more videos like this one, gear demos, tutorials, tour vlogs, click that subscribe button. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in the next video.